Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The latest polls show that Donald Trump's approval rating has cratered to the lowest point of his second term. The numbers aren't just bad for him, they are awful.
37% of Americans in our poll approve of the job Trump is doing. 63% disapprove. Take a look at his approval in this term over time. You see here, he was up hovering near 50% in his honeymoon after the inauguration, and it has been going down pretty steadily since, now at 37%.
37% approval rating. That is the lowest number at this point in a term of any U.S. president in the history of polling. And Trump is underwater with a higher negative number than positive on everything across the board.
Trump doesn't have a majority approval on a single issue measured in this poll. Everything from tariffs and the economy to foreign relations and immigration. More than 6 in 10 disapprove of how he's handled tariffs, the economy, and the federal government. About the same number say they don't like how he's managing the war between Ukraine and Russia or relations with other countries.
The ABC News poll found a majority of Americans say the economy is worse now under Trump than it was a year ago. And lower income Americans have abandoned Trump en masse.
Nearly 6 in 10 households making under $50,000 a year say the economy is worse now. About 6 in 10 Americans also blame Trump directly for the current rate of inflation. And it's important to remember that the economy was one of the most important issues for voters heading into the 2024 elections.
The economy is also the issue that Donald Trump seems to lie about the most.
Because we're doing so well. Inflation has been defeated.
But the data shows inflation is getting worse, not better. And most Americans are seeing right through Donald Trump's whoppers. Amidst the government shutdown, public anxieties are rising over things like food stamps, Social Security checks, and even transportation safety. And while Trump and the Republicans blame Democrats for the stalemate, most Americans agree with Democrats that it's the Republicans and Trump who deserve the blame.
We asked the question, who do you blame? 42% say Democrats in Congress, but 52% said it's either the president's fault or his party in Congress's fault.
This is striking, Steve, because here we are a month into this shutdown now, and more Americans still pointing the finger at Republicans for this.
Certainly seems like it could be related to some of the numbers we're seeing here.
And some of those numbers include the overall direction of the country.
ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll found that a majority of Americans think that the country is headed in the wrong direction. About 2/3 say the U.S. is pretty seriously off on the wrong track, while just under a third believe things are moving in the right direction. And when it comes to President Trump's handling of key issues, our poll found that Americans are giving him low marks. Majorities disapprove on how he's managing nearly every area tested.
For his part, Donald Trump seems to believe that if he shouts loudly enough or keeps posting on social media in all caps, reality will eventually bend to his will. On True Social, Trump referred to the government shutdown and told Senate Republicans to terminate the filibuster, not just for the shutdown, but for everything else. We will get all of our common sense policies approved, voter ID anyone, and make America great again. But Senate Republicans have rejected dumping the filibuster. So even though the Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House, the GOP will still need some Democratic votes to end the shutdown. And the Democrats are holding firm and demanding the GOP stop cutting health care.
See, Donald Trump just made clear over the weekend repeatedly that Republicans have the ability to reopen this government. They don't want to do it because they'd rather continue to gut the health care of the American people. And here are some questions that need to be asked. Why have House Republicans remained on a taxpayer-funded vacation for the last 6 weeks? They keep canceling votes. They've canceled votes for next week. Of course they are unserious as it relates to reopening the government. Why has Donald Trump spent more time on the golf course, including this weekend, than he has in talking to Democrats on Capitol Hill who represent half of the country?
On top of playing golf, Trump also hosted a lavish party this weekend at Mar-a-Lago. The Halloween gala was in the theme of the Great Gatsby, with guests celebrating wealth and excess and dressed in the style of the 1920s. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is refusing to commit to paying out food stamps to nearly 42 million Americans. Trump's cruel policies and tone-deaf approach are not going to help his cratering poll numbers. Trump took office in the second term, promising that he alone could fix Washington and boost the economy. Instead, the government is shuttered, workers have been furloughed, and the economy is in trouble with higher inflation. And here's the uncomfortable truth for Donald Trump. He owns the economic troubles with his chaotic tariffs, and Trump also owns the government shutdown. Trump started it, he's prolonging it, and he's paying the political price.
Which party would you want to control Congress? And the Democrats have now, in our poll, this is significant, opened up an 8-point advantage over Republicans. We checked this back in the spring. It was dead even. That 8-point level is typically what you would find for a party that's poised for a big midterm election. That's the kind of lead Democrats had when they swept to power in Congress in Trump's first term. So we'll see if that holds now going forward, but that's a potentially big shift.
The polls reflect what the public has already articulated. Donald Trump is not providing leadership, just chaos. He is a president who governs by grievance, insults, and threats. They dominate the headlines, but do not sustain or help the nation, and the public knows it. Republicans in Congress are increasingly nervous, and with good reason. When voters start blaming you for missed paychecks, stalled benefits, and shuttered government services, it's not the opposition party that suffers, it's the one holding the keys. If Donald Trump doesn't turn this around, he will soon discover that whatever political capital he thought he had has evaporated faster than the truth in one of Trump's press conferences. America's patience is wearing thin, and no amount of Trumpian bluster, lies, or social media posts will patch things up. Now, to be clear, Democrats have their own problems. The party's image is in the toilet. However, midterm elections are almost always a referendum on the party that is in power. And heading into a midterm election year, Donald Trump's Republican Party is in deep trouble. By the way, a lot of Republicans say they are nervous about the Trump damage that may be coming in the Epstein files, and Democrats are putting the mainstream media in a bind by going for the jugular.
If you're a criminal, you're going to buy your way to freedom with Trump. If you are one of the people like him who took advantage of young girls with Jeffrey Epstein, then we're going to sort of make that go away. I mean, fundamentally, Speaker Johnson...
We don't have evidence that he took advantage of young girls with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. Just common sense be damned.
I'm not saying common sense be damned. I'm saying facts. Let's look at the facts. Is he in the Epstein files?
He's obviously in the Epstein files, and the reason that fundamentally Speaker Johnson has us on vacation is because he does not want to seat the newly elected Democratic representative.
Right, but you said he
Arizona.
took advantage of young girls. You have absolutely no evidence of that.
I think it's pretty obvious that that's what's going on.
You think it's pretty obvious?
I do.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular from TIE Fighter, who wrote, 27 women have said that Trader 47 sexually abused them. If it only happened to half of them, that is too many. I believe all of them. Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump lashing out as his poll numbers hit record lows. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.